Hey everybody, Nick Slavic here, proprietor of the Nick Slavic Painting and Restoration Company, also the host of this show, Ask a Painter Live. It's a weekly live Facebook show where I use my over 2 decades of experience as a craftsman and a business owner to answer any questions. And today is going to be a very interesting show. It's something I've called the State of the Union. I want to talk about some very specific topics, give people updates about what's been going on. And also, again, any questions, any comments, any topics you guys want to talk about, I'll always talk about oil primer. We'll always talk about job costing and all that other stuff. So the theme of this year has been basically mastering the basics for me. And when I look at some of the most successful companies in the United States, I see that they do very simple things very, very well over and over and over again. And so that was the theme for me in my company, and also personally and also professionally. Professional as it deals with, me in relation to the business. And so today we're going to talk about some things that have been top of mind for me, which are margin of time, margin of mental bandwidth, margin of time in your life to do the things you need. We're going to talk about a concept that I've been basically dwelling on for years and years and years, which is called the third 8. And it deals with every day is 24 hours, and we're basically given 3 8-hour days in a day and how we use them. We're going to talk about professional updates, what's been going on with my business, what's been going on at Ask a Painter Live, and personal life as well, because they're all sort of intermingled with me. So first off, before we dive into that stuff and the State of the Union of everything I'm involved in, I want to thank the PCA. I would not be here today doing what I'm doing, how I'm doing, if it weren't for the people I met in the PCA. There's just not a simpler way to put it. If you guys are interested, if you want free resources, if you want to meet other people who care as much as we do, they're there. And there's a link here in the show notes. And I'll make sure I update this stuff by the end of the show here for you guys. But all right, State of the Union. The State of the Union is an address that the president gives the nation about what's been going on, kind of summarizes everything. This is the State of the Union. And I thought this would be an apt time because there's a lot going on. I've been taking notes over the last week to kind of summarize the last 9 months, 10 months, or a year. And just bear with me here. I'm going to break this out into 3 separate kind of topics here: the business, my personal life, and Ask a Painter. So in the business, a lot of you guys have been following along. I have not, the reason I'm talking about the State of the Union and business and all this other stuff is because I have not had as much margin as I normally do, but it's for a good reason and it's intentional. A lot of people suffer from not enough margin. They don't have enough time. They don't have enough time to do the things they want to do. And it's usually they can't find the source of it. I can absolutely find the source of it, and I'm going to read it to you right now. So I will tell you this to summarize all this stuff. I could not do this without my craftspeople, my apprentices. I could not do this without my leadership team, my 2 production managers, my estimator, and of course, I could not do this without my family, who allows me to basically do whatever I want, whenever I want. It just so happens that I like business and family, so I spend a lot of time doing that. So here we go, folks. I suffer from not a lot of margin recently, but it's for a good reason. And here's what basically we've been up to, what my extra margin has been taken up with over the last 9 months to a year. So 4 years ago, I had no employees. It was just me. I had some craftspeople, they left me, and I basically rebooted everything. And everything that's happened since then, joining the PCA, meeting people there, putting my business through traction and other things has happened since then. So 3 years ago, no employees. This is now my 13th year of business, kind of starting year 14 here in the next couple months. We started the 4-hour work week, and we're in about 1 year of experiments with that. I had 2 years ago, I had 1 production manager. This January, I hired a 2nd production manager. Also hired my first ever estimator Andy, which he's been a craftsman for 11 years, ran his own business, and he decided to come on with me. Took a long time to recruit it, due to substantial as Andy, but we did it. And we've been spending the last couple of weeks training him, and he is a insanely good addition to the team. And it's really exciting. So we've hired and trained an estimator. We've started a drywall division in the company. We've started a carpentry division in the company and outfitted both of them. We've hired and trained 13 people this last December and January, which I found last December to be an insanely good recruiting effort. And I'm sorry if the light on the screen is this and that. I'm dealing with, I'm still trying to figure out the video part of this, and I'm having that beautiful sunlight dabble in here, so it's changing. We basically doubled our production capacity in the last 9 months in this business. We started a health insurance program for the employees, which takes an insane amount of time. If you guys ever want to offer group health insurance to your employees, buckle up. If you want to talk about a margin stealer, that is a margin stealer. But I thought it was important for our employees, so I pursued it, and now we have it. We started a retirement plan for our employees. We've also organized and implemented a paid time off plan for my senior people. We have just purchased and outfitted and are moving into a new shop as we speak. So again, that's not a small process. That takes up a lot of margin. We researched and implemented a new sales pipeline tool and a CRM. And again, for any of you who have done this before, it is a margin stealer. It's all a little bit of your margin given towards this stuff. But again, these were all things, I should couch this with, these were all things that I had planned to do, that I have prepared to do, and I knew how much margin they were going to take. I would just said, you know what? It's worth the margin to do this. So we're going to do it. My business paused 2 times this year because of a global pandemic. So if all this stuff wasn't enough, there was that as well. We added 5 company vehicles to the fleet. We're about to embark on something that we're calling Apprenticeship 2.0, which is the second, more professional iteration of the apprenticeship program and the decent human being theory that we've embarked on for a lot of years. And I was made a board member of the Painting Contractors Association, which is great because I have a hand in reforming that organization and in reaching all the contractors in the United States, the 280,000 painting contractors, and bettering their business. So that's the painting business right now. Ask a Painter. I love this show so much. It connects me with some of the brightest, most beautiful minds in the entire industry from around the world. And my life has changed because of it. And I thank you guys. And I enjoy this show, creating this show, putting this show out, and interacting with you guys more than I did even when I started it. And I have not lost enthusiasm for it. And if anything, I think so much about this show every week, about how I can use this tool to provide value to everybody, the same way that people provided value to me when I needed it the most. So just know that we're about 4.25 years into this, 52 weeks a year, 52 episodes a year. I've never missed one, and I will never miss one as far as I can see. And I really look forward to interacting with people like Peter Balafast from Australia, who's here, and Todd Carrolls, who is another great painting contractor right down the road from me here. And that's just, I love this show. I love this show truly, and I will not stop, and I will continue to improve it as we go along. I spend about an hour to an hour and a half a day corresponding with painters from around the world. We compare businesses, we compare the craft, we share templates and things like that. I will not stop doing that, and I will never charge for that stuff. I will never charge for this show either. I believe that this is one of the most valuable things that has improve the way I think, improve the way I act towards other people, improve the way I think about my business, and it changes the way I think about the industry. And I cannot stop this because it has added so much value to my life. I just hope that other people get as much value as I do out of it. My speaking engagements have been paused for the most part. I will start my traveling, my fall traveling here soon. We have a surf prep influencer weekend. I'm going to see one of the coolest people in the industry, Corey Leister, who's putting on a speaking engagement for me, and we're going to do a little education together. We had so many fun things in the work. Peter Balafast, you would love this. Oh, Heike, how's it going? Peter, I was actually we were planning an Australia trip. Believe it or not, a person with a Australian painting company started speaking with me about a year ago, and we were in talks to go to Australia, which would have been another life-changing event. As most of you know, I'm very close to my Brazilian Pintor friends down there, and we were actually planning a tour of the country to visit all my favorite painters with one of my favorite painters, with one of my favorite translators, where I was going to work in the field for partial days with painters from all across Brazil. Global pandemic paused a lot of this stuff. And one of the most interesting, thought-provoking things that was supposed to happen this year was we were in initial talks to go to Colombia, of all places. So that was going to be super exciting. Now, we had about 7 or 8 other speaking engagements around the country, including bilingual, which I was very interested in because I know some of the finest craftspeople and business owners in the country. A lot of them speak multi-languages, and we were going to combine my presentations with their multilingualism, and we were going to present to other languages throughout the country. All of this paused because of the global pandemic, which makes me very sad. But all of this will resume when normal life resumes sometime. So I have not paused on this. I do not like this break from it. I love getting out there and pressing the flesh with all my fellow craftsmen and business owners, and that will not stop. For this reason, we've started the War Room Masters classes. We have an insanely safe, common sense, simple approach to meeting, getting people together. The next one's in a little bit. If you guys want to join it, you can search War Room Masters class on Facebook. There is a group page and there's an application on there too if you want to go. And it's not that I don't let people in, it's that I'm just going to grab some information from you so I can contact you and we can get you in here. So that's basically the runaround of Ask a Painter in my business. Personal life, on top of all that, we sold a house that we lived in for 15 years, a 1917 Craftsman home, which my wife and I fully restored, poured our life into for years. You guys know and love it. The orange house on the corner. One of the biggest achievements of my life, outside of family and the business, is pouring my heart into that house. We sold that to another family, and we built this new house, the Slavic house. And I'm very happy to be out in the country. We have a 20-acre piece of land, pond, swamp, babbling creek, woods, prairie, food plot, you name it. It's out here, and raising my kids out here has been a lifelong dream. It's been 7 years in the works. I've owned this property for about 7 years with my wife, and now we are here. This is phase one. We have a lot more to come in the next couple of years here to share with you guys. I don't want to be preeminent with I don't want to get out ahead of it, but there's more to follow with this stuff out here. Our kids, because of the global pandemic, are hybrid school. Again, margin. I devote 131% of my time to this business and to Ask a Painter and things in order to provide a certain way of life for my family and in order to scratch these itches from knowledge and constant improvement that I have. And my wife is very understanding. She's an amazing person who, her intent, she was a elementary school teacher. And her intent was to eventually stay home with our children, our family. And we have 4 young children, all under 11. And she stays home with them. And because we've built this margin in our life, when a global pandemic hits, it doesn't actually change our life much. I was deemed an essential business, so our business didn't really stop. We paused a couple of times for the safety of my people and for the comfort and the mental health of everybody involved in the global in the global community. But, my wife already stayed at home. So when they decided to hybridize school, where we do a little bit at home and a little bit at school, honestly, our lives didn't really change that much. We've built in margin into our life that we can adapt to these things, and we're not forced to do a lot of decisions. So a lot of the long plays that we've been doing, my wife and I, over the 15 years have been very good. And sometimes you wonder, if you do the hard work and you invest in long plays and long-term plans, you wonder if you're just kind of a sucker sometimes. And this year was proof that, we are independent. We've built a life that is largely unaffected by a lot of things that go on in the world. And especially in a year of elections and all this other stuff, honestly, I'm proud to say that we are largely independent, and our success or failure is basically tied to how much effort and intentionality that my wife and I are able to put into this. And it's a good place to be. It relies 100% on me and her and our effort, but we wouldn't have it any other way. We would rather control that destiny. So now, with all that said, this is a very delicate kind of subject for me because I think we've accomplished a lot over the last bunch of years, and especially this year. This has been an amazing year. I did not accomplish any of this stuff alone. I have a great group of apprentices and craftspeople. I have a great leadership team here that is a constant help and assistant to this. And together, my leadership team of 4 is 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 = 5. We are better together than separate, truly. And I would say the same for my apprentices and craftspeople, that we're somewhere between 18 and 25 seasonally, and together we are 28. We are not less than the sum of our total, which is a very good thing. Margin and the third 8 is something I think about regularly. I love first principle reasoning. I love standing back from a problem and looking in on it and completely reshaking it and say, this is what everybody else does. What if we just step back, get rid of our assumptions? And if we had to start this over, if we had to try to find a solution without all these other assumptions and start from scratch, what would it be? The third eight is something that I've been thinking about a lot. We have a 24-hour day each day, and I basically break it off into 3 8-hour days. Generally, 8 hours of work, 8 hours of sleep, and then you're left with 8 hours, the third eight. What I found with a lot of people is that they're very unintentional about their 3 8-hour days. Sleep, you're only as intentional as you can. A lot of people are very intentional about sleep. I tend to be very intentional about sleep to make sure I get enough so I can function during the day. When I don't get enough sleep, I tend to gradually lose interest in the things I do. And I don't want that to happen. I love that natural interest in everything. So I'm very intentional about trying to get enough sleep. Work, obviously, I'm very intentional about that. Eight is a good start. Normally, you would not be able to accomplish all these things without a team and with only working 6 to 8 hours a day. If you want to do all this extra stuff, it's just a simple equation of they all take time. They all take margin. We can be smarter. We can be more efficient with our time. But at some point, tasks take time because they rely on other people. So the third eight and margin. Right now, I'm running on probably zero margin because I do believe in being in the outdoors quite a bit. I believe in spending a certain amount of time with my family, and I want to grow my business. And so on my third eight, I generally divide my third eight. Maybe I should back up. My weekly schedule. Every day, Monday through Friday, I wake up at 4 and I work till about 7 or 8 in the office and get everything that I need to get done from the day previous, anything left over done. And I do everything I can for the day. So I already put in about 3 to 4 hours getting ready. And honestly, that in the cool, in the calm, in the quiet, that actually gets done most of the work that I need to do to run the business. Like the things that if I wouldn't do, this thing would actually move backwards a little bit. That's the time I do. So by the time 8 o'clock in the morning rolls around, I can spend my 8 hours, my original 8 for work, basically progressing the business. And then I used my third 8. I used half of it in the morning for work. Generally, I use another hour or 2 of that for business at the end of the day, and then an hour or 2 for family each night. Now, that's a huge trade-off. That's not a lot of family time during the week. And you can imagine that, waking up at 4 and then being conscious of sleep, I'm not up till midnight every night. But what I do is a trade-off. I like to have my time concentrated in chunks. So what I do is Friday, I wake up at 4. I work till about 8 in the office. All my employees work on a 4-day work week. So basically nobody's working unless anybody wants overtime. I get all my stuff done that I need to. I start working on some social media projects. If I partnered with any companies and we're making content together, I'll work on that. I do my Ask a Painter show, and then basically it's family time. So honestly, most Fridays at 1 o'clock, I punch out. And if you guys ever try to email me, then you'll probably get that out of office reminder saying, hey, family time, I appreciate it. We'll talk to you Monday. And then it's basically Friday afternoon. Saturday and Sunday is all family time. There are occasions throughout the year, 3 or 4 times, where I will do something for the business on those times. This last weekend, I worked till about 8 at night to prep and prime most of my shop in preparation for my employees coming Saturday to help me. And then I worked 2/3 of a Saturday, give or take, on getting the shop ready. And we basically prep, primed, and painted the entire interior of our new shop in about that day and a half with a couple employees. So that was worth it to me because then I could get a partial day Saturday and Sunday with my family, and we're not taking away from our clients and our production during the week. So there are times where I will definitely go against that and sacrifice a little family time for a big thing like moving into a new shop. So thanks everybody here. And you guys have any questions, comments? I'm giving a quick State of the Union and update. We're talking about the third 8 in margin. Anything you guys want to talk about, we're here. But basically, why do I say all this stuff? I say this because when I look at some other companies and when I look at some other people, what they say and what they do doesn't always make sense to me. Or the things that they portray on social media doesn't make sense to me because I'm adding up this margin in my head and I'm saying something doesn't match here. And one of the most helpful things for me is when business owners and craftspeople have been honest with me in the past about this is what it actually takes to do something. And you don't want to live your life by this 10x, baby. We can just do whatever you think you're doing in the day, just do 10 times more. And it just doesn't work that way. If you want to do things right, it takes margin. And being intentional about the third 8 is very important. 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours of work. What are you going to do with that third 8? And I've found when I start thinking about the third 8, I think of like the 5 to 10 people that I look up most in this industry and without this industry, that I know their businesses, I know their families, I know their personal lives. They are insanely intentional about the third 8. Now, it doesn't always have to be work. Don't think that that third 8-hour days is wasted if you're not working. I would argue that you should spend some of that either, you got a couple of simple options: work, family, and personal stuff, like just pure selfishness. And this could be reading a book. This could be watching a movie. This could be something else. That there is sacrifices for what we're doing here. And I'm not going to sit in front of you and tell you that there's not sacrifices. I have sacrificed family time for what this business is doing right now. I've sacrificed a lot of personal time. I tend to try to, it helps that the things that I like to do personally align with things that I can do with my children and my wife, like things in the outdoors, house projects, things like that. And we do a lot of stuff together. That's good. And I may be fortunate, maybe lucky, I don't know, but it does take up time. So I think the biggest thing I sacrifice to make time for all this stuff is personal stuff, but I don't feel I'm slighted. I honestly don't feel I'm slighted by that. If you look at my third 8, it's probably between 4 and 6 hours of that spent for business. And then I give the rest to family, but then I take a large chunk, 2.5 days of family time every week. So I feel that this is a doable strategy now, but it's very important to be intentional about this, that this is not forever. I do not want this schedule, this low margin for the rest of my life. But again, being intentional about this stuff, putting production managers in place and estimators in place, this will give me the extra margin to not free myself up and sit and drink a blue drink on a beach and just hopefully this business will run itself and make money. This gives you freedom. This gives you the option to work or not work. I will continue to work, obviously, but having the option to work and working is way different than being forced to work and working. And that's sort of what that's sort of the goal of all this stuff. And my employees probably get sick of hearing this, but I call what we've created a little freedom machine here, which is basically everybody involved. I'll promise you one thing. If we all put a hand in and break ourselves for this common goal to reform the trades, make happy clients, make happy employees, decent human beings around us, you will get the ultimate freedom, which is basically no boss, love of your work, which is something that I have, surprisingly, I've seen most of the people I know do not enjoy what they do during the day, which is the saddest thing I've ever realized. And they will have the freedom to make enough money to do what they want, a 4-day work week to spend 3 days with their family instead of 2, 50% more time in a chunk with your family and friends than almost anybody else they know. And it's basically in a year of COVID, global pandemic, political unrest, elections, things like that. It's nice to have the freedom. It's nice to have the ability to sort of not be affected by some of this stuff. So I don't know. I think the big takeaway from this year is I feel and know there's less margin, but it is a great feeling because I feel that I have been as intentional as I ever have been with my time. And not only are we getting more results, I'm happier. And the good thing about this is the end goal is to not have this. The end goal is to have more margin. So, Morgan, when it comes to efficient use of time, my husband is a machine. Let's see. Consistently making the point of intentional about every movement you make. If you're walking in the front yard to check the mail, might as well take out the trash or a load of recycling. Walking into another room, look out for some item that you need. No wasted motion. That dude sounds like we could hang out. Ultimate utilitarian, which is, anything. If you're walking this way, hold something in your hand, take something, move that way. I like that. Sort of what I'm doing right now, sacrificing some of my third 8 for a lot of work for the remainder of the year because I want to grow a team next year. Help to live alone. Nobody feels neglected, and it's so worth it. I'll pull Hikens up here. And it's so worth it seeing what I've accomplished in the last 6 months. Yeah, it's been fun following you actually with all this stuff. So best of luck to you. Honestly, this is a fun journey. So it's a fun thing. So anyway, this is again me being long-winded, giving you State of the Union about company, about Ask a Painter, about personal life, to sort of illustrate the idea of margin, to illustrate the idea of intentionality. And the third 8, and just being intentional. The most happy, successful people I know use their time intentionally. They have a purpose for it. They have a plan for it. They're held accountable to it. And it's not this robotic sort of discipline and this rigid sort of calendar item thing. It's just, if you're going to spend time with your family, be intentional about time with your family. If you're going to play Legos with your kids, be intentional about playing Legos with your kids. And that's a way to do it. So Morgan, he's an engineer. It makes me feel like painters laugh because every time we work for engineers, we all look at each other with the same look on our face. Buckle up. They're going to have a spreadsheet for us about, I've thought about some of your painting processes, and I couldn't help but just notice there's some room for improvement in some things. So we're used to those engineers. And yeah, I have a feeling that you hold your own, Morgan. You're no slouch in that intentionality and stuff too. So, all right, everybody, long-winded. Thank you. It's self-evident that I have less margin than I normally do, only because I'm doing this on a Monday night, and I wanted family time, and I want to get in my new shop last week. And I normally do these on Friday. We'll be live again this Friday. Actually, I will be Friday or Saturday. I'll actually be at the Surf Prep Influencer Weekend, and we'll probably do an Ask a Painter from there because there's going to be some awesome people there. So, all right, everybody, thank you for this. Thank you for interacting with me over the years. I have grown as a human because of this show and because of the people who interact here. I absolutely love it. Marcel, will you be doing any more of the War Room Masters classes? Yes, there is one in the works for, I want to say a couple weeks from now. And if you search War Room Masters class on Facebook, there is a group. Show that you're interested and fill out a short application there so I can get some information from you. So, all right, everybody, thank you so much. This has changed my life. I appreciate all you guys, and we're not going to stop. This is, it doesn't matter how much margin or how much little margin I have. I will not stop this. And I really look forward to interacting with everybody. So, all right, everybody, have a good day, and we'll see you guys in a few days.